Are you ready to get on the hot seat with Wally George? Hang on for the wildest, most controversial talk show on television, featuring enthusiastic participation from our live studio audience and interviews with provocative newsmaker guests. And now, here he is, that hard-hitting, award-winning, conservative voice of television, Wally George!
Terrific crowd, and I don't want to sound like I'm exaggerating, but we have 13,000 people tonight.
Even the third balcony is full.
Even the third balcony is filled tonight. How are you up there, gang? Yeah. One thing we never do here is exaggerate, right? Welcome to you all at home, wherever you're watching us. This is the program that helps our great President Ronald Reagan make America even greater. And we try to expose those liberal lunatics for what they are, a danger to America, right? And we're going to fry a few tonight on the show here. Now, for those of you, maybe one or two, who haven't seen this show before, this is a talk show. But this is not a talk show. This is an action talk show. Okay. All right, now on tonight's program, we have Scott Lockwood, who's a libertarian. You won't believe some of the things that he and his fellow libertarians stand for. They're for cutting back on our national defense. And they also believe that we should let Russia do whatever they want to do all over the world. Oh, boy. I can hardly wait to fry this maniac, huh? And then back for another appearance, but this time you're not going to believe it. Our guest, Rudy, is here. But Rudi Krause is back, but he is calling Ronald Reagan a puppet. And he doesn't like Ronald Reagan's stand on South Africa. I say he's wrong. Am I right? Okay. Now, before we get to my commentary of the night and to some questions, and by the way, I want to tell you, you are a terrific audience tonight.
He gave himself a big hand.
And before we get to my commentary of the night, in the booth, let's have another great hand for our fine director, my good buddy, Brian Lockwood. There he is. On the floor, our answer to Don Johnson. There he is, Oscar! And our great producer, the lovely and talented Paige Poliquin. And here he is. Here he is, my very best friend and the one, the only David Kennedy. Here he is. Well, David, how you doing tonight?
Let's give him a good show. It's a great
Oh,
audience.
we got a live one tonight.
Yeah.
Have you seen Rudy out there?
Yeah, I saw him all right. He looks a little different.
He has a new look tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, I'll
The
tell
new
you.
look Rudy. He lost
hold
his
on.
hair, yeah.
All right, everybody, hold it down now. We're going to do my commentary of the night, and then we'll get to some questions from our great studio audience. Here we go. Senator Ted Kennedy is really a hypocrite, in my opinion. What do you think? Now, let me tell you why I say that. Ted Kennedy wrote an article in the Los Angeles Times recently, and I could hardly believe it. There he was whacking away at William Rehnquist. Now, hold on. Ted Kennedy believes that William Rehnquist is not worthy to be our Supreme Court justice. And he even suggests that there has been a massive cover-up to hide certain documents that could show that Rehnquist is not qualified to hold such high office. I say this is hypocrisy, right? I'll tell you why I call Ted Kennedy a hypocrite for saying there's a cover-up with William Rehnquist. I say, how dare he talk about a cover-up when he was involved in the biggest cover-up of all time, the Chappaquiddick cover-up. Now, we never did get the whole complete story on what really happened at Chappaquiddick. Police files suddenly were missing in Chappaquiddick, and Teddy Kennedy's actions were unbelievable. You may recall, and Teddy, if you think we've forgotten, we haven't. I'm going to remind the people again. You may recall that he left Mary Jo Kopechne in his car at the bottom of the lake at Chappaquiddick. He went back home to his hotel room, slept the whole night while Mary Jo was lying at the bottom of the lake in his car. He slept the whole night in his hotel room. Then, the next morning, he got up and called his attorney and asked him what he should do. Oh, God. What followed that phone call was the cover-up to end all cover-ups. Kennedy doesn't think, my friends, that Rehnquist deserves to be Supreme Court Justice. Well, let me tell you something, Teddy. I don't think you deserve to be a United States Senator. I'll be right back. Welcome back, Wally George here, and this is Hot Sheet, the action show on television. Hey, this is one talk show where you don't fall asleep after the first 5 minutes, right? David, do you have anything to say on the commentary that I just did?
I think they shut down Teddy pretty effectively when they brought up that Jack had the same clause in his home ownership contract as Rehnquist did.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Okay, now it's time to go to my mailbag. You ready? Okay. Now here's a girl who writes to me and she says, my name is Dawn. But she says, my stage name is Midnight Angel. She says, I'm a singer in a heavy metal rock band. Midnight Angel, oh boy. Sounds more like a stripper to me. What do you think? Anyway, she says, Wally, you're always putting down heavy metal. They should take you off the air. You always put down your guests, but then when they put you down, you kick them off the show. Why? I'll tell you why. Hey, I'll tell you why. It's my show, that's why. And I'll tell you something else, Midnight Angel. I'm kicking you out the show right now. You're out of here. Hey, David, wait till you hear this one.
Okay.
Okay, this
Ready.
is from another girl, and her name is Noreen. And this isn't too bad, but
Sounds good already.
It's about you, David. She says, Dear Wally, I love your show, and I love David Kennedy too, but he should change his name. How can a good conservative go by such a vile name? Oh. Obviously, she doesn't like the name David, right? Or maybe it's Kennedy, huh?
Possibly she was referring to Kennedy, yeah.
Well, how do you
why
answer
not?
that?
Why not? Why, Jack Kennedy was one of the most conservative presidents we have had in years. In relationship to today's conservatism, he would be an ultra-conservative.
Hey, you know what? These liberal Democrats, they try to claim President John Kennedy as one of their own. John Kennedy was a conservative. Do you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis? I mean, that was a conservative act. And what did John Kennedy say in his inaugural address? He said, ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. So the liberals in this country may want to claim him as one of their own, but I claim him as a fellow conservative, right? Okay. Now,
I guess we answered Noreen.
yeah. So Noreen, you got yours, okay? Now here's one here's a good one from William, and he says, Dear Wally, you're the greatest thing on TV. Keep on eating those liberal lunatics alive. Yeah. We'll do it. Okay, let's go to the audience. Yes, let's go to the audience. Bring our first questioner up. Hey, first of all, I want to say I love your cap. Wally in 88. Yeah! How about that? All the down.
I got my vote.
How are you?
Hi, I'm Orville from Santa Ana.
Yes, Orville.
And I was just curious, what is your opinion? What type of punishment do you feel should be handed down to second, third, fourth-time offenders of drunk driving?
Well, I say anybody who's convicted for the third time for drunk driving, let's put him in jail for life.
How you doing, Wally?
Hold it. Yes, go ahead.
From Mark from Los Alamitos.
Yeah, Mark.
I'd like to know your opinion of President Reagan's proposal for all mandatory drug testing of government officials.
Well, I think so. Listen, anybody who serves in government, and you know, when you're serving in government, especially in highly sensitive jobs in government, should be tested for drugs. I mean, we don't want a bunch of druggies running this country, do we? No! I think everybody who serves in the government should have to take a drug test, and if they won't take them, then kick them out of there. Go ahead. Yes, sir. Come right up there.
I do. My name's Hector from Upland.
Hector, go ahead.
And my mom, you said at one time that illegal aliens are taking the jobs away from the citizens.
I did say illegal aliens are taking jobs away from citizens,
Okay,
right?
well, my mom runs a citrus grower labor camp, and she has jobs all the time, except the citizens just won't take the jobs.
Oh, come on.
White men won't work. She has them all the time.
You tell your mom for me. You tell your mommy for me that I kicked her son out of here. Now, first of all, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. Hey, before we get to our next, let me just tell those people at home, this guy's mother, I hate to say this, Mom, if you're watching, you don't know what you're talking about. You've been out in your orange groves too long. Now, let me tell you something. Harold Ezell, the commissioner of the INS, the Immigration Service, was right here on this program not long ago, and he told me that illegal aliens are taking thousands of jobs away from American citizens every year, not only out in the orange groves, Mom, but in construction, in factories, in restaurants, and we gotta stop it right now, right? Okay, go ahead.
What's up, Wally?
Yes.
My name is Rob Cazares, and I'm going to run for the President of the United States in about 5 years. And I wanted to ask you, what do you thought my chances would be?
You're going to run for president?
For the U.S.!
About 5 years? You're going to run for president in about 5 years, right?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well,
What
pal,
do you think my chances would be?
I think you and Walter Mondale should join forces, okay?
Yeah, Walter!
I'll be right back. Let me tell you people at home that we have good audiences most of the time, but then we have exceptionally good audiences, and this is probably one of the best audiences right here. Really good.
So far.
I mean, you can just feel the positive vibrations pulsating around this room, can't you? I mean, this is an all-American audience. USA! 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 Now, that was a good lead-in for this guy, who I'm really going to take over the coals. David, will you introduce him, please?
First up tonight, we have a respectable-looking gentleman, at least, Scott Lockwood, who is going to speak up for the Libertarian Party.
Well, I'm glad to see that I'm already so popular here.
Well,
on the show,
Scott,
Wally.
I think there are very few libertarians in the, and I say praise the good Lord for that, right? Now, let me start right off the bat, Scott, by telling you that I think the libertarians are a disgrace to the United States of America, right? So is your tie. And so is your tie, right?
How did they get that out,
Thank you very much. Yeah, okay.
Well, Wally,
Hold on.
you know, Wally, I
Hold on. We'll discuss the Libertarian Party first, and then we'll discuss his tie. All right.
Thank heavens we chose the right order.
No, seriously now, you can't possibly believe all this nonsense that the Libertarian Party believes. Do you, Scott?
Oh, of course I do.
Oh, boy.
Of course I
Scott, first, let's go one by one, right down like some of the ludicrous things that you libertarians are trying to push
Fine,
here
let's
in
talk
America.
about
All
it,
right,
Wally.
first of all, you guys, listen to this. He wants to cut back on our military defense program.
Absolutely. And put that money back into the pockets of you, me, and all Americans, where it belongs.
Wait a minute, Scott.
Where it belongs.
Wait a minute, Scott. If we take money away from our defense, we will not be able to properly defend ourselves, and you won't be putting any money in anybody's pockets because we won't have any country left, right? Scott, our number one priority must be to defend this great country, the United States of America. USA! USA! say, Scott, when you libertarians are calling for a cutback in our military defense, I say it's downright subversive. What do you think?
I think that it's downright sensible. We spend far too much money on defense, absolutely too much. $4,000 coffee pots are bought and purchased by our nation every day, and there's absolutely no sense, no reason to do it.
We're not talking about coffee pots. We're talking about hardcore defense spending.
What, to blow up the world? To blow up the world, Wally?
Not to blow up the world. We want to defend ourselves. I mean, you may...
All we're doing is playing a game with the Russians. We build bombs, they build bombs, we build more, they build more, and it's time that the whole thing just stops, just ceases, because it's a dangerous and foul game that we play with the Russians.
Don't you know that hold on. Don't you know that the Soviet Union, their goal is to take over the entire free world?
And you know what I say to that? Let them have the world, but don't take...
I think they're coming to get you, Scott.
I thought I had heard everything. He says, let the Soviets take the world.
Let them...
How can you possibly say that?
You let them have the rest of the world. The only thing that we care about is what's happening inside of our borders, and it is high time that we take care of the United States and the United States only. We ought to get out of the businesses world. We ought to stop being the policemen of the world and take care of the people that live inside this country and forget the rest.
Hold on a minute. Let me answer you. I mean, I'm almost becoming ill from hearing this ludicrous thing. You say...
Look, hey, we got it on fine for almost 200 years without meddling in other people's affairs.
Let me answer you on... Hold on. Let me answer you on your first diatribe there. Now, this is the whole thing. You say, we should just stay home, let Russia take over the whole world as long as...
If they can.
All right. As long as we protect ourselves. Now, what kind of logic is that?
It's the logic of neutrality. The logic of neutrality.
What I'm saying is, Scott, wait a minute. Let me finish my answer to your stupidity, all right? Now listen. Once the Russians take over all the rest of the world, Scott, we're going to be the only ones left. Don't you think they're going to come after us, too?
Really? That's ludicrousy. That is not going to happen at all. It won't happen.
Oh, it won't happen.
Listen.
Famous last words. I remember when they said that about Adolf Hitler. Hey, hold on, Scott. Neville Chamberlain came back to London right before World War II, and he said, hey, we can trust Adolf Hitler. He's not going to want to take over the world. He's not going to bomb us. It'll never happen. There's another Neville Chamberlain right here, right?
When we start taking care of this country and this country only and make our country strong defensively, because contrary to popular belief, I'm not against a strong defense, but strong defensively and economically, we will be setting a good example for the rest of the world. An example that the world will want to follow naturally.
Sure we will,
without
Scott.
us meddling in people's business.
Sure we will, Scott. We'll be setting a wonderful example. We'll be a bunch of wimps, won't we? For you to say...
We will not be wimps. We will just simply be peace-loving people, Wally.
Yeah, sure. We'll be peace-loving people waiting for the bomb to come over from the Soviet Union, right?
The only chance of them bombing us, Wally, is simply because we antagonize them constantly. If we got out of their affairs, there'd be no need to bomb us. We antagonize the Russians all the time, every day.
Oh, we shouldn't antagonize the Russians. Oh.
Listen.
Hey, wait a minute. I know what we should do. Let's throw a party for Gorbachev, huh? I'll be right back. Welcome back. Wally George here with the Hot Seat Show, and my guest is libertarian Scott Lockwood. I really can't believe some of the things I'm hearing, David. Do you want to say something?
Yeah, Scott, whose affairs are we unnecessarily meddling in right now, for instance? South Africa?
Of course. South Africa, the Middle East.
We should stay out of South Africa.
The Eastern Bloc, everywhere. We meddle all over the world.
Hey, you would like us to
and have been doing so for over 50 years.
You would like us to be completely...
And I want to make this point. For 150 years, we were a neutral country, and we got along just fine.
Wait a minute. Oh, we cannot be neutral. We must stand by our allies who are fighting a communist takeover of the world. Obviously.
But Wally, our allies have the bombs, and they have the military, and they have the resources to defend themselves against an attack.
They
just
do
as
not.
we do.
We are a beacon of strength. We are the only hope for the free world. You want us to stick our heads in the sand and become isolationists? I say.
Oh, no. We shouldn't be an isolated country. We should be a neutral country, and there's a big difference between the two.
You can't be a neutral country. How can you be neutral against those vile animals in the Soviet Union, right? You can't be neutral.
It takes two to play the game with the Soviet Union, and if we drop out of the game's over for them. There's nobody else for them to play with.
If we drop out of the game, the game is over for us because they'll take us over. Isn't that right?
But if we truly... Now, wait a minute.
Wait a minute. You neglect to realize, I can't believe that you can be so naive and so dense not to realize...
Wait, naive, dense? You're the one that doesn't like my tie.
Because it's red. Yeah, it's a red tie. Hey, notice he chose a red tie, right? Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Let me answer.
It isn't my fault you have bad taste.
You are so naive and dense that you don't realize that the main goal of the Soviet Union is to take over the United States of America. And if we become a neutral country like you want us to, and take all of our troops home from all over the world and let them gobble up country after country after country, we'll be the only ones left. And are you so naive to think that they will not try to take us too?
I don't think they're going to take us. Of course not. Of course not. And
why would they leave us alone?
Because our country will be strong on its own. And furthermore, listen, if we really believe in freedom and liberty and justice for all, I think that we ought to let other countries have the same freedom, the same liberty, and the same justice to be able to determine for themselves what type of system and country that they'd like to live in. Why should we tell a country in Eastern Europe that they should be capitalistic?
Hey, Scott,
it's their own business. It's not ours.
Why aren't you addressing these complaints to the Soviet Union? What have they done in Afghanistan and Poland and Czechoslovakia and Hungary? Don't talk to us. Talk to the Soviet Union.
And it's none of our business. It's none of our business.
Wait a minute. Did you hear what he said? I'm talking about the atrocities that are going on.
It's none of our business.
None of our business.
Business is what happens inside the borders of the United States of America.
Our business is to protect the entire free world, is it not?
And one of the reasons why so many countries do turn to communism is simply because we have gotten into their affairs and they don't like it.
Oh, come on. I'll tell you what. If we were not in Nicaragua right now, Nicaragua would be under the Soviet Union. Am I right? We cannot. I don't know how you can say that we can sit idly by as the Soviet Union gobbles up, and he says, let them have the whole world. I say no way, because what we're asking for is for us to go with it. As long as I have a television camera in front of me, I'm going to protect this country from lunatics like him.
The Soviet Union will never have the entire world so long as America sets a good example for the rest of the world.
You're so naive. I can't believe how as long as we said, hey, the best example we can give to them is to have Ronald Reagan look at Gorbachev in his beady little eyes and say, listen, you punk, you try one thing, you try moving in on one more country, and we're coming after you. Isn't that right?
Scott, however wrong we may be doing things, it seems like millions of immigrants from all over the world are frantically trying to pour into our country.
Fine, so be it. Anybody that wants to come into our country should be allowed to come into this country. And if that's what America is all about.
Hey, wait a minute.
And bring whatever disease and drugs they want to bring in, huh?
Wait a minute.
That's
hey,
what
Scott,
America is all about.
Disease and drugs?
Hey, wait a minute.
Well, certainly not. But
Hey, wait a minute.
I don't think we're ever going to be able to get rid of that.
Are you also talking about illegal aliens? Should we let them come in?
Of course. Of course. What happened to give us your tired, give us your poor?
So hold on.
This is what America is all about.
Wait a minute. You say that we should let hold on, everybody. You're saying to me that we should let the illegal aliens flow across our borders?
Of course. If they're repressed in their country, and if they want freedom and can't get it in their own homeland, they should be allowed to come to our country and have freedom and liberty.
Illegally.
No, completely legally. We should allow anybody that wants to come here.
Anybody should come across.
Mr. George, if not for that policy, you wouldn't be sitting in that chair right now, and
hey,
I
listen,
wouldn't be sitting in mine.
If we don't stop the flow of illegal aliens flowing across our borders, you won't even have a job, and neither will I. They're taking over job after job. Hey.
Well, listen, Wally, should they stay in Nicaragua and let the communists take them?
The illegal aliens are coming across this border, and what Commissioner Harold Ezel of the Immigration Service said to me on this program is, what we are facing is an invasion of the United States of America, and unless we stop it, they're going to take over our industry. They're moving into our schools, into our public housing. They're moving into welfare, and I say we must stop it right now.
Then should we become a closed society, such as the Soviet Union, and not let people out and not let people in?
If anybody wants to come into this country, they come here legally. Isn't that right? This is a country of laws, and when you come into this country illegally, you are committing a felony. You go out of this country, you're disobeying the law.
Well,
now, you also speak.
A lot of those laws should be changed, Wally.
For example, you would like to legalize all drugs.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Absolutely.
What do you think about that?
Hey, Wally, what do you care if I want to shoot up all day long? What do you care? It's my body, it's not yours.
Hey, I'm saying
if
this.
somebody is stupid enough to sit and take drugs and abuse them, that's their own problem.
Let me answer that. With the drug problem, hey, don't laugh, idiot. How can he laugh about a drug problem here? Just a minute. When we are facing, as the President of the United States has stated on television, when we are facing one of the greatest problems to ever hit this country, the drug problem of the drugging of America, and as the President of the United States says, we must put an end to it, this maniac says, let everybody have drugs, let's legalize it all. What do you think about it?
You know whose problem is? The person who has the problem with drugs is the person who abuses them. And I, for one, don't care if my neighbor wants to abuse drugs, and I think that...
Well,
And also, it goes a lot further than that. It's not just drug abuse, Wally. It's drugs that people want to have because they believe that those drugs can help them. For instance, an interview, or a person that has cancer who feels that Laetrile might help them, but they can't get Laetrile in this country because that drug is illegal. Why should it be illegal when that person owns their own body and can put whatever they want to in it?
I'll tell you why. Because what happens is users oftentimes become pushers to get money to support their habit. And I say this, for for you to want to make it legal so that we can get this drug problem worse and worse and worse.
Well, drugs are already illegal, and it's already a problem. And one of the reasons why people like to abuse drugs is because it is wrong.
No, it isn't. That is such a dumb thing to say. They're into drugs because they're hooked on them, and by legalizing them, all it does is make it easier to get those drugs. Does that make sense? Now listen, you are saying that people should almost be able to do anything. You would legalize almost everything, wouldn't you?
Of course, this is a free country.
But it also
and people should be able to make their own decisions, right or wrong.
Hey, wait a minute. You're talking about an anarchy. We have a democracy in this country. We have laws and orders. I mean, you know, would you say it was okay to rape? Would you say that was okay?
No.
Well, okay. So then why can you say, I will obey one law,
You know why?
but I won't obey another?
Because rape is abusing another person's body.
And so are drugs, aren't they?
With drugs, the person who takes them is the victim, and they have made the decision to take those drugs. The woman who's raped on the street has not made the decision to have a man come up and rape her, and there's a big difference, and you know it.
Well, here is the only difference that you and I have. You are out of your mind. I know what I'm talking about. And we are
If you knew what you were talking about, you'd recognize that this was a very nice talk.
What I'm saying is that what you and your fellow libertarians are trying to advocate, if we ever were to follow it, it would be the destruction of this very nation, and you, my friend, would be down the tubes. But luckily, the majority of Americans do not believe as stupidly as you do, because they know that Ronald Reagan is right, that we must have laws in this land. We must be able to fight the Soviet Union and know them as the evil empire they are. We must never legalize drugs, and you, my friend, are out of here. Hey, can you believe what that maniac had to say, huh? Boy, I mean, one of the worst things I've ever heard him say, speaking on behalf of the libertarians, is when I say the Soviet Union wants to take over the entire world, he says, let them do it. Isn't that ridiculous? All right, now we'll get to our next guest in just a moment. Right now, I want to tell you people here in Southern California only to join me every day, Monday through Friday, here on Channel 56 from 5:30 until 6. I'm here taking your phone calls live on the Hot Seat Hotline. So join me every day, Monday through Friday, from 5:30 until 6. You can call me on the air live, and I'll answer your questions, and we have a lot of fun on that show. And then, of course, every Saturday night from 11 until 12 midnight, it's Hot Seat, a brand new show every single week, gang. Now, I want to remind you, if you want to write to me, we love to get your mail. If you want information about the official Wally George fan club or whatever you want to talk to me about, I love your comments and suggestions. Some of the letters I read in the mailbag segment, but I do read every letter, and I answer every letter. If you got a snapshot, put that in there so I can see what you look like. You know what I look like. I want to see what you look like. But write to me. I will answer every letter. My address is just Wally George, Hot Seat, P.O. Box 56 TV, Anaheim, California, 92803. That's Wally George, Hot Seat, P.O. Box 56 TV, Anaheim, California, 92803. Let me hear from you out there, okay? Now, if you want to come down to a taping of our show, we videotape this program every Wednesday evening, 52 weeks a year. We never take a vacation, much to David's dismay. We're on every single week, every Wednesday night. If you want to come down to one of our tapings, we do it about 7 o'clock every Wednesday night. Call the numbers on your screen, leave your name and your telephone number and how many tickets you want, and we'll invite you to come down as soon as possible. Please call Monday through Friday between 8:30 and 6, and give your information to the receptionist. The number is area code 213-464-6111, 464-6111. And then, of course, our world-famous number, in the 714 area code, it's 999-5000. 999-5000. everybody at home joining in now. 999.
5,000.
999.
5,000.
One more time. 999.
5,000.
Yeah, all right. They love it.
Even he knows the number.
Boy, they were doing that in stereo
Yeah,
tonight,
that's
David.
right.
Okay. Now it's time to introduce our next guest on the hot seat, David, if you will.
Okay, next up tonight, our guest really doesn't need any introduction. He's been on so many times. However, tonight, I think he has completely fallen off his limb. Rudy Krause.
Ionic bond.
Rudy, hey, first of all, I know everyone's going to wonder, where in the world is your super cosmic visor cap, right? Where's your visor cap?
I'm developing my new rock star image. My band Ionic Bond is getting ready to release some new material. My song Never Rest on South Africa is a smash hit. It's on the desk of Evie at Capitol Records right now.
So this
she wants
is your
a remake. And I can make my raps will make Run DMC run away.
So Rudy, so this is your new rock image? Is that
I'm
it?
setting up a rock and roll administration. We're going to phase out the Reagan administration and phase in the first rock and roll administration when we have the first rock and roll president, me.
So you're...
That's right.
Now, Rudy, I can't believe that you are attacking our great president, Ronald Reagan, on his policies, on his stand on South Africa. What's wrong with his policies on South Africa?
You mean his apartheid policies?
Oh!
That's right. Racist.
What do you mean
The best way,
apartheid?
let me give my first State of the Union address. And what I'll do is I will use some lyrics by Roger Waters from the Animals album by Pink Floyd. The song is entitled... The song is entitled Pigs, and this is what I think about President Botha's administration. I have adapted it. Big man, pig man, head of the apartheid corporation. You well-heeled big wheel. You have no voice. Your soul squeals. And when your face is down in the pig bin, gold dust on your fat chin, you'll never go to heaven. You'll never go to heaven. You and your cohort, President Ronald Reagan, puppet for the apartheid corporation. That's right. You can... Hold it. You can turn your back on me, Wally Botha, but you cannot turn your back on the idea of justice.
Now, wait a minute. I'll be right back. Welcome back. Wally George here on Hot Seat, and my guest, of course, is Rudy. And Rudy, I find it hard to believe that you would try to link Ronald Reagan with Botha. How can you possibly say that he has hate, or Ronald Reagan has no racism in his heart? You know that.
Why isn't Ronald Reagan divesting all of his special interests in South Africa? By ending the supplies of their key imports, we'll force them to comply. They'll have no last resort. By not buying their exports, we'll see equality. Won't condone the Israelis selling the apartheid weaponry. No imports, no exports, no Israeli cohorts, and we'll see equality for the betterment of humanity. Divest! Protest! Right.
Rudy.
Today, in the Black Township of Durban, South African police clashed with demonstrators protesting against the apartheid government. 5 more anti-apartheid protesters were killed, bringing the total number of deaths to at least 1,500 this year. Tensions continue to mount as there is no end in sight to the racial-triggered violence.
Rudy, what are you doing? Rudy, this is an interview, not a newscast. What are you doing here?
Apartheid steals up people's land, then makes them slaves for the businessman. While he gets fed off the scam, he treats the people less than human. when hundreds of riot police swarmed into the streets. Using whips and guns, they killed 27 at least. All you people,
Rudy, hold on a minute.
you people will never go to heaven. Never.
Rudy, don't insult my audience. We've got to conduct an interview here now. This is not a one-man monologue. Now, we got to realize, Rudy, and you've got to realize this, as President Reagan has said, if we apply strict sanctions against the government in South Africa, the people who are going to be hurt the most are the people we're trying to help, and that is the blacks. We've got to realize that
here's the situation. The American people should not buy apartheid products. It is not totally Reagan's fault. He's doing what the people want him to do. But the Americans should not buy. They should not buy Coca-Cola. And people like Bill Cosby should not advocate the use of Coca-Cola. That apartheid hypocrite.
Oh, now wait a minute.
And you should not. Don't wear Reeboks.
How can you
and don't tell Jerry Falwell that he's the real phony. His plan to buy Cougarans is full of baloney. Right here. Cougaran gold. You wear this Cougaran gold and you'll sell your soul.
Now, Rudy, wait a minute. Rudy.
Soon will come the day when truth will lead the way, justice will prevail, and love will conquer all. Soon will come the day, soon will come the day, soon will come the day, everybody. Soon will come the day when truth will lead the way, justice will prevail, and love will conquer all.
Wait a minute.
You know what?
Hold on. Rudy, we have to conduct a two-way conversation. You're doing a one-man show here.
You know what? All those people, all of you people, all of those people who stood up together, they together could not outperform me in a physical test of integrity.
You've had it. That's it. Good night, everybody.
Smells like a gym bag.
Does anyone else feel lightheaded? Oh, I'd kill for a good coma right now.
I need that bad.
Why?
Someone were to break in here.